Let's talk about what's really fun, what everybody really cares about, the presidential election. The path to the November presidential election at this point is all but settled. President Joe Biden has no real opposition in Congressman Dean Phillips. And as of today, in the aftermath of the New Hampshire Republican primary, it's doubtful that Nikki Haley is a viable opponent to challenge the former 45th president. You know, Stacey, Joe McQuaid, the former longtime publisher of the Union Leader, said this recently about President Trump. He has no business being president of the United States. He's a dangerous man, and he has a lot of sycophants. That's obviously the feeling of a lot of people who oppose Trump. What do you have to say?
Well, I'm stating the obvious when I say Trump has the power because of his present momentum. That said, I'm not speaking for or against him when I say anything and everything can happen in politics, and it does, which is also why DeSantis and Ramaswamy have both suspended their campaigns. According to the FEC, that means it's technically not terminated, and the candidates therefore can keep raising money, hire consultants, etc., and who knows, resurrect their candidacies if anything goes off the rails. But Casey, I think that there's a far bigger issue that needs examination, which is out of a combined population of 4.6 million people in New Hampshire and Iowa, only 434,000 voters in these two states have essentially determined the trajectory of one of the most consequential presidential elections of our time. So is it possible the outcome was determined in part because the two leading candidates skipped out on the debates? I mean, I believe it should be mandatory for all presidential candidates to participate in both the primary and general election debates. Yeah. They are a real crucible for candidates and offer the voters and the media an opportunity to see who has the medal or a meltdown, under fire. So I really wish the DNC and the RNC would not allow the candidates to make unilateral decisions about their willingness to participate. It's a big problem and will only become more entrenched if it's not appropriately addressed.
Mike, I believe it was Will Rogers who said that he's not a member of any organized political party. He was a Democrat. Why is it that there aren't any other candidates? I mean, my goodness, if you recall 92, there were tons of candidates who wanted to run against George Bush, even though he had a high popularity rate. And Bill Clinton emerged and won the nomination. Why is it that no one is challenging an 81-year-old president? I'm sorry. Both these guys are too old to be running.
Well, I agree with that completely. But I think historically, we don't typically have people running against incumbents. And so the incumbent has the luxury. And one of the other really interesting challenges is, and I didn't fully appreciate this, I've been doing some reading lately, where it really is drawing sides where people are now more angry with the opposing party than they are positive about their own party. And so as a result, I think it's really hard to have people pick a candidate that they don't think is battle tested. And so at least Biden has beaten Trump. And so is that good? No, because they're both nearly 80 years old. But I think you have a candidate that you show that has already won and can continue to win. But I agree with Stacey. I think there are a lot of twists and turns yet to come in this. And I don't know that we necessarily, and we've said this here before, that the two likely candidates ultimately are the two candidates that we're selecting from.
My political prognostication is just gone in the dumper. I mean, in 2016, I was a Cruz guy, and this year I was a DeSantis guy, and thought that we had, younger, more qualified candidates needed to run. Stacey, you mentioned that it's too bad that the voters don't have a chance to vote on this. Any further thoughts?
Listen, I can't underscore that enough. And I think that we're seeing a high level of frustration out there. I see it in my political dealings on a daily basis and what I hear from people. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Haley, if she can hang in there long enough. Again, I'm saying this, I'm not endorsing any particular candidate here. I'm just strictly looking at the sort of the technical aspects of this and just wondering, is she going to have the money? Is she going to have the votes or whatever it takes to hang in there and create a real fight? Time will tell. And also whether or not Trump actually gets convicted of anything.
Well, we only have about 30 seconds left, Mike. Go ahead. You finish up.
No, I think it's good for I can't believe that people are calling for her to step out after two primaries. I mean, to your point, typically there are a number of folks who are in there and are going to be in there for at least a few primaries to kind of see how this plays out. And I think it's been very interesting to see Trump's reaction to the fact that she's still in. He's clearly very frustrated by that. And how does that manifest itself over the coming primaries? And if, to Stacey's point, if she can continue to have some resources, I think it makes it very interesting to see how this plays out.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see. And, there's a new rumor du jour going around that Biden is going to drop out of the race in either late May or early June, and Michelle Obama is going to be nominated at your convention. So we have to wait and see.
That'd be fabulous.
It's all part of the mystery.